we have Alex and Ellen. And just to double check with online participants, can you see and hear us okay? Can you give us thumbs up, please? Can you hear us? Can you see us?
It's turn on. Use tiny little box, set up box.
Yes. Turning on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that probably trainerations for the education.
No expertise in this at all.
From current slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's doing a great job.
Is this full screen now? I'm just waiting for it to come up.
Yeah, it's full screen. Okay, can go this way.
Hi, so I'm Alex and this is Ellen, and Josie is our third year mathematics student who is doing a module, well, a project module. So they get to choose any kind of project they want. They can make up their own project, and she wanted to explore maths anxiety, but she wasn't quite sure where she wanted to go with it at first. So I was, I guess, a principal supervisor, but Ellen, I think, has done a lot more of the stats work than I have. So Josie couldn't come today. She's now finished the degree. She got her first in this module. She got her first overall. She's now celebrating with her family in London. So that's why she's not here.
She is planning to be a teacher. She's doing teacher training. So that's one of the reasons she really wanted to do this project basically as well. So
yeah. So I won't labour too long on the background of this because we all know what these mean. This is why we're here. She didn't know where she wanted to go with the project initially. So I recommended her to read work by Bowler and Dweck, just to maybe give her some ideas of where to start. And she was absolutely fascinated with the idea of the fixed and growth mindset and what this means. And she kind of had that revelation of, oh, I felt like this a lot of the time when I was at school. And I think because she does want to go into teaching mathematics at secondary school, she just jumped on this straight away. So as I said, we're all looking at here at the mindset and the resilience. So I won't labour on this. So the research questions that she had, initially she had about 20. So we had to say, you know, that this is a year-long project, a third-year project. It's not a PhD. So, you know, you have limited time. So we had to reduce the number of research questions that she wanted to focus on. One of the ones was looking at the current Maths UK scale developed by Tom here, which was a 23-item scale. She wanted to reduce this, or to see if she could reduce the number of questions, because she was very conscious that she was going to be asking secondary school pupils across the full age range from age 11 to 16. And she was just conscious about question fatigue and completing it. So that was one of the things. And she wanted to obviously investigate the relationship between the math anxiety and the growth mindsets and the resilience, and also the value that students hold in math. See the importance, do they see the fun in this? And are there any particular groups? She had ideas that the final year students would definitely be more anxious because they're just about to take their exams. So this is what she went in with. So she wanted to examine this and see if her theories were correct. And what which of these factors, or if any, have any impact on whether these students go and study at A level, so post 16. So these were her 4 questions. So she is from North Lincolnshire, so she thought that she would contact her old secondary school to see if she could do the survey with them. So she designed a Qualtrics survey, well, surveying Qualtrics, and she sent it to this school. She contacted the head and the head of maths, and it's a community school in a semi-deprived area, I would say, with 1,300 pupils. She did want to send it to more schools, but again, we had to keep reiterating you have a time limit on this, and you're going to have a lot of data to organise. So she just sent it to one school because she didn't want to look at the different types of schools depending on Ofsted results or anything like that. We didn't want to go into that. She had an absolutely fantastic response. Out of the 1,300 pupils of this school, 903 completed this questionnaire. She was absolutely ecstatic, but also really nervous about having to deal with all these results after. We discounted 32 of the respondents' responses because they completed less than 65% of the questionnaire. So she managed to reduce to 7 scenario-based items using the 5-point Likert scale. So that ranged from not at all anxious to very much anxious. And she used existing data from a previous study as well to get to this. She also used, for the value of learning mathematics and also for general test anxiety, she used previous, subscales from this motivated learning strategies questionnaire developed in 1993. And she developed her own growth mindset and resilience scales as well. So.
Okay, so she did look at quite a few things. We're only covering a little bit of what she actually looked at in her whole dissertation. So we're just pulling out some of the key things. So one of the key things is my main role is in staff support. I see a lot of students doing projects, and I always say you're going to have to exclude anyone that doesn't say male or female because you won't have enough responses. I told her the same thing. She had 15 I know that doesn't sound like loads, but 15 is enough to like sort of generalize slightly. People saying that they were non-binary. Some of those we had to code ourselves. It was a bit of a learning thing, because they typed in other, and we had to work out whether these were actually real categories or whether they made them up. So we discounted banana, obviously. But yeah, so we learned quite a bit because we had to Google these different types of non-binary categories. There was a prefer not to say, but it was only 5 people. So for the purpose of statistical testing, we excluded that group because we couldn't do anything with them. So as you can see here, you've got males are relatively low. So if you think the maths anxiety scale, this is not at all anxious, 1, up to 5, extremely anxious. If you can look at the males, you can see the bulk of the males here are between sort of 1, not at all anxious, and not very anxious at all. So actually pretty low. In fact, we wondered if this was correct because we were expecting them to be more anxious than this. You can clearly see that females are more spread out and obviously higher. So the median is considerably higher. And then the non-binary are higher again. So not surprisingly, when we tested this, males were found to be significantly lower than both female and the non-binary category. She tested other things like year group, ability set, and strangely, there were no differences. So gender was the only categorical variable that came out as significant. Right, so growth mindset and resilience. We're going to come back to this at the end of the presentation about how you measure these things, although we've got a few ideas. Oh, right, we better speed up. I do talk fast, by the way, I was going to say, but I'll just speed up and talk even faster now. Right, so we separated some of the questions into what we thought was growth mindset and what we thought was resilience. And there's a couple of interesting things here. Again, I had to recheck. If you look here for resilience, everybody scored an average of between 3 and 5. So it's out of 7. And I found this quite interesting in itself, that there's not very much spread at all. Now, I've got a 11-year-old, and I know they're doing things like growth mindset, resilience. They talk about resilience in infant school now. So I'm wondering if this is feeding into this bit here. And then over here on growth mindset, we can see that there's a lot more variability. And there were significant gender differences, although I think it was resilience. It was more related to, oh, that's on the next slide. I won't say I think, I'm just going to show you the numbers. So she was interested in the relationships between all these different aspects. So we know that these things are all related to each other. These are the correlations between them. So we've got our maths anxiety score. You can see here that there's a much stronger relationship between maths anxiety and growth mindset than there is between maths anxiety and resilience. And I think that's correct going down. So over here, you can see these are strong or moderate relationships, test anxiety, and this is the value of learning, importance, etc. So growth mindset seems to be more strongly related with those. Whereas resilience, test anxiety isn't related at all, and the others are moderate. So then we wanted to look at the likelihood of further study. So basically she asked them, you know, whether they wanted to, whether they were thinking of taking A-level maths. Now this was asked of the whole 11 to 16-year-olds, quite strangely, but so it was a 5-point scale that went from definitely not to definitely yes. And you can see that resilience, very weak relationship, growth mindset slightly stronger, but the key thing coming out is the value. So how much they value the learning of mathematics. Interestingly, every single study that I do has value at the centre of it, and I've done a lot of studies. Right, so this is the bit we actually wanted to pose as a question to you, because we were struggling. I think you're more expert, a lot of people are more expert than we are in the definitions of resilience and growth mindset. We were struggling to actually categorise them. So we're leaving this as a little quiz question for you that maybe we can come back to later. These were the 6 questions she asked. So of those 6 questions, we grouped them into 2 sets of 3, but we're just interested in hearing everyone else's opinion. Maybe take a photo and we can have it. So basically, I want you to look at these and decide, is it representing growth mindset, resilience, or something else? How many minutes have we got?
All right, so
Just now, just empty.
yeah. So we'll have to come back to this maybe
Yeah.
later.
I know, I think we'll just finish the,
So
I don't
there's
think
that.
we need anything else. Yeah, but that's telling them what we did.
All right, well, we'll go on to the conclusions
The
then.
conclusions.
Yeah.
I was just going to leave that there while they thought about it for 2
Okay.
minutes.
You've got us for the conclusions.
Well, I'll do it in a minute.
Okay.
So, just quickly write down, what do you think while we take questions? So which of these, number them 1 to 6 if you like, and then just write down, each person write down, is it growth mindset, is it resilience, or is it something else?
You've got 2 minutes and then you've got 5 minutes for questions.
Oh,
So
right,
2
okay.
minutes of presentation and 5 minutes of questions.
I'll just
Okay.
leave, we'll just do the conclusions then, shall we,
Yeah.
quickly, and then we'll flip back to that question.
Okay, so as Ellen has mentioned there, the levels of maths anxiety we thought were really low in general, just across the whole board, never mind dependent on whether it's year group or gender. But we can see that just from the gender that the male pupils have lower maths anxiety than females, and they have lower anxiety than the non-binary category. And then it's the opposite for the growth mindset and resilience. This is higher amongst the male groups, and the lowest there is the non-binary pupils. So we think this is really interesting because I don't think there's a great deal of data out there yet on the non-binary category of pupils, and because this is becoming, especially in the UK, a more acceptable group to be in. I think that there needs to be a lot more work in this area and a lot more study on there. And as Ellen has mentioned as well in her previous studies and in this one, it's the value placed on the learning of mathematics that determines whether they continue. So yes, there we go.
Thank you very
Time
much,
is up.
Alan and Alex.
Thank you.